We're back. It has been about a month off of Achievers Live, our weekly show focused on showing you how you can scale your online business to six-figure years in a way that truly aligns with the freedom-based lifestyle that you want. And in part of that, I took August off, and actually the first week of September as well, because I have a business that allows me to do that, because I needed to have some time to work on some things behind the scenes. And I am so excited to kind of get back in the groove here, start our weekly live sessions off again. And I couldn't think of a better topic to kind of kick things off than list building, especially as we are getting ready to finish out 2017, which sounds crazy to even be saying, but before we know it, we're hitting Q4. This is the final push of the year. And I've seen just how people have been working on their business throughout this year. Some of the things that have been going right, some of the things that have not been going so well. And one of the things that I know across the board that has made such a difference for myself and my clients has been this attention to our list, to really growing it in a way that isn't just anyone that's coming onto your list. And when you start to create a list that really does have your ideal people on there, that's where things start to shift. That's where true income, influence, impact all start to come together, because you do own that, right? You own your list. You have complete control of what is going out and where you're taking that list with you. So as we dive in, I want to talk about the opt-in, because when it comes to list building, I'm sure we all know the opt-in is that first piece. How do we essentially bribe people onto our list? And the reason why we even need that is because nobody wants junk in their inbox, right? Like, nobody wants more emails going on. So if we can give them something that is absolutely irresistible, that can give them a win, that can actually help them, then they want us to be in their inbox versus just, hey, like, let me sell you your stuff type of thing. So let me know in the chat if list building has been a focus of your business this year. So is this something that you've been intentionally working on? And if so, how's it going for you? How are you seeing traction? Are you getting sales through your list? Are you getting people on the phone for discovery calls if you do one-on-one or done-for-you work? Because your list has the potential to do all of that if we are setting it up correctly, if we are getting the right people. Hey there, Amanda. Perfect. So let's go ahead and cover first the mistakes that I see people making consistently when it comes to list building, so we can make sure that if you're falling into any of these traps, that we clear them before we start talking about building your actual opt-in. Jamie, you too. Perfect. I love it. So first mistake is that the opt-in is too generic on the front end. So if you're not seeing people signing up for your opt-in, most likely it could be one of these three things. And one could be that it is way too generic. So you are essentially telling them to sign up for tips, tricks, strategies, like something that isn't like one set goal or one set focus. It's really broad. So because of that, they're like, I don't really know what I'm getting, so why would I give my email when I already have enough in my inbox? And I see this especially on people's websites. So they are putting up this opt-in bar, which is great in theory, but it's telling me to sign up to get bonus tips, or it's telling me to sign up to hear from them once a week. Well, I don't know you yet, so I don't know if you're going to deliver value every week to me. So no, you can't have my email, because it's like Fort Knox over there. Like, I don't want a bunch of email that I'm not going to consume. Where if you were offering me something that I'm like, oh, I need that. Like, I'm willing to give you whatever I have to in order to do that. So an email is like easy for me to give. So think about that. Are you being too vague and not really solving a problem with your opt-in? Because if so, then it's too generic and people just they're not signing up because it's not wowing them. But they're already seeing that out there anyway. They don't know the difference between your tips, tricks, strategies and somebody else's who maybe has spam fest them in the past. So they don't want that. Jamie says, so true. The more specific, the better. Yes, absolutely. And especially when you're looking for your ideal clients, because we want to make sure that we don't have people coming in that just want like these general topics, because then when you go to start talking about your offer, they're going to unsubscribe. They're like, oh, I didn't really need that because we weren't specific enough from the front. So first thing, too generic. The next thing is it's not something that people have to have. So it's not actually solving a problem for them. So this happens a lot if you're on, let's say, the preventative side of things, where people will create opt-ins that go, oh, this will avoid you having to make this mistake. I get that in theory, but I haven't made the mistake. So I don't really think I need it, because I'm convinced I'm not going to make that mistake now that I just saw it posted there. So is it something that actually solves a problem, or are you doing the reverse? You're not solving a real problem for them, so you're just giving them more things to consume. So here, download this extra thing in your life, download this, random checklist that doesn't really solve a problem for you, but maybe you'd like to have it in your life. So let's make sure we're actually solving a problem, and we'll go through how to figure out what that is for your audience. And then the third one, which is notorious, and this is something that I had to break myself away from. Like, I had to literally watch 0 results before I finally got it through my head not to do this. And that is making it too complicated. So what you're trying to do is you're solving everything in one opt-in. So you want to solve a huge problem all in one download. So you're having somebody that is not investing, and we all know there's a different mindset between somebody consuming something for free or something that they have paid for. So you're asking someone for free to consume your 800-page ebook, or asking them to watch a 3-hour workshop with you when they don't know if they're about to waste their time for that. Or you gave them so many steps as far as like a checklist that's like an 80-point checklist that they go, I'll start that later. Let me go put that on my desktop. Let me save it in the folder of opt-ins I'll never go back to, and I'll totally do it later. And I'm guilty of that. Anytime I see something that overwhelms me, like I'm even like that with email, if I'm being totally honest with you. If I get an email that's really, really long, I go, let me mark that as unread. I need to come back to that because I can't consume all of that right now, and then write a good response back. So now that person waits longer, right? Only because that's how we're wired as humans. So I can admit that about myself, but most likely you do the same thing. So think about that with your opt-ins. If you're giving people way too much up front instead of these small digestible pieces, then they're going to go, oh, this is some great information to come back to. I'll come back to it later. And then they don't, because guess what? They signed up for somebody else's and somebody else's, right? And like, there's just too much coming at them, and they forget to go back in there until eventually they just go delete everything, and your opt-in does not get consumed. So let me know in the chat, have you been that person? Like, have you downloaded something with all the intentions in the world, and next thing you know, you never actually went through it? You're like, I remember when I signed up for that, but I'll do it later. I'll do it later. And then maybe you did a clean out of your computer, and then you just wound up deleting it. Or you moved it to another organized folder and still haven't gone through it. I've totally done it. And if I could lift my legs this high, which I totally cannot, I would be lifting those as well. Amanda, just over the past few days. Yes, because here's the thing. Jackie, constantly. Yeah, it's so easy because we don't have to pay for anything, right? Like, it's totally free, and you're like, sure, why not? If I don't like it, I'll unsubscribe, but like, I'll go ahead and consume that. And then you actually don't, so you don't get the win. So if you want irresistible opt-ins that actually do lead to sales in your business, Let's go ahead and talk about how to do that. So I wanted to focus on the mistakes first, just so we know why we're implementing these steps, and then we can go ahead. Amanda, I'm a sign-up-aholic. I used to be like that. Like now I'm much better, but I remember I would, all of a sudden I just see all these names, right? And like going on in the inbox and you're like, I don't remember what the original thing was. So you may have to put yourself on a little detox, right? And go, all right, as irresistible as it looks, I'm not going to give in. And now you're going to be the one putting out the irresistible opt-ins, which is going to be really fun to see. So number one of irresistible opt-ins is to know your end goal in advance. So I have seen time and time again where people create an opt-in and they don't know where it's going in their business yet. So they haven't created a sales funnel or whatever the case is, they don't know what they're actually going to sell on the end. So what starts to happen is the opt-in doesn't go with the later sale. So we want to kind of work this backwards. Anytime that we're creating an opt-in is I want you to think of whatever your core offer is or the offer you want to focus on right now. So if it's one-on-one, if it's a program, if it's a webinar, whatever the case is, where you want to lead people to, I want you to start with that in mind first. Because we want to make sure that anyone coming in isn't going to get blindsided by this offer. So if I was saying, let's do something in my business, if I was giving you like a visibility checklist, and then all of a sudden I sold you a list building course, you'd be really confused because you're like, I came in for visibility, like your mindset is in a different place. So instead we want to work backwards. So what is your core offer? What is what you want to lead people to, your end goal? And I want you to break that out for yourself. So break out either the modules of it or some key areas that you cover, like maybe one-on-one, you don't necessarily have modules, right? That can be custom to each person. But even if I look at the one-on-one work I do, I know what I tend to always cover. So I know like the certain things that people come to me for. Sorry, I have a cat that's apparently ripping apart our wall over there. So what we're going to do is start at this end goal first because we're going to work backwards. So write down what your end goal actually does. What are the results that it is going to bring for your ideal client, which makes it even more cemented in your mind just why your offer needs to get out there. So it's not going to hurt you to do this exercise anyway. So really focus on that. And then from there, I want you to pull 2 or 3 of those things. So out of your core offer, what are 2 or 3 pieces that you know that somebody could start with in order to get results? So we're just pulling from what you already have because we're going to work backwards here and knowing what that end goal is. So if you know what your end goal is, put it in the comments. So what do you want to lead those that are subscribing to your list to at this point? Of course it could change. Of course you could have multiple offers. That's okay. But for right now, we want to focus on one thing at a time. And that's how you're going to do it with every single funnel in your business or every single opt-in. You have that choice to do the same thing for yourself. So once we know that end goal, we're going to just break it down, and you could do this right in a notebook of what is actually covered within that end goal. And then I want you to pick 2 or 3. Okay, so we're going to definitely simplify this so that we can work backwards. So the next piece of this is we want to find out of those 2 or 3 things that you pulled from your core offer, what does your audience need right now? The audience that you have out there, your ideal clients, what are they actually looking for at this moment? So because you have those 2 or 3, this makes getting your answers easier because you know what you're looking for. You're looking for anything that's covering these specific pieces. So I'm just going to use examples from my business because it's the easiest way to do this. So if I was writing out a piece of a core offer, and let's do list building because for simplicity's sake, if I was writing about somebody wanting to do list building, what are some things that are covered when I do list building, either as an intensive or I have a course, a connect and convert course? So like either way, what am I covering? Well, one is going to be the opt-in, right? So creating your opt-in, let's say writing your sales funnel, and we're going to put in there promoting your opt-in because that's a struggle for people too. Like once they do the work, what is, going to happen? So I have those three things. What do I do to go research it? So first, I can put a post on social media. When it comes to list building, which one of these are you struggling with the most? A, building your opt-in or creating an irresistible opt-in. B, building your sales funnel. Or C, promoting your opt-in so you can get organic leads. So I could put that out there, see what everyone responds. And even for something like that, if you wanted to promote that for $2 just to those that are already following your page, if this is on Facebook, then great. Like, it's worth it to me just to get that feedback from my audience. If not, you can do it organically too. It doesn't matter either way. But I'm asking that question because for everyone that responds, I'm then going to ask them a little bit more. Why did you choose B? How can I help you in that area? I want to see what people are looking for because this is a strength of mine, which means that you forget what it's like to be in that spot of starting out. So listen to your audience. If you don't have a large audience right now, that's okay. You can go into Facebook groups, start putting what your keywords are in there in the search. I actually would rather, if it's somebody else's Facebook group, I'd rather search the group than ask the question because I want to see what people are already saying without being prompted in somebody else's group. So I can put in there and say, just put in opt-ins, put in list building, put in sales funnels, and just start seeing what are the conversations going on around groups that contain my ideal client. So I can start to play around with that and see what are people saying. I could send an email to my list and either give them a survey where I ask them to pick one and then explain why. 2 questions, super simple. I can do, like I said, the social media posts. I could do emails. I could do Facebook groups. You can post on social media. This allows you to start to see, okay, what are people actually saying about these things? Jamie says surveys are awesome, especially when you're in Facebook groups. I'm in the horse industry and I use surveys in horse industry groups. The information is gold. Yes, because, and Jamie, how many times do you see where people give these responses and you go, oh, I forgot about that part of it, right? Like, because it's so second nature to you to be doing that type of work that you forget that other people don't know certain steps of it. So this helps you even create better offers in your business. So I'm very big on research for that reason, because I don't want to just rely on the 5-year-ago me or whatever the case is to fill these gaps. I want to talk to people who are in this moment and having that all the time. Yes. And it really helps you, one, like it helps you with your list, but I hope anyone that does these surveys takes time to like appreciate how far you've come. Because a lot of times we can slack on that until we start seeing like, oh, all right, like I'm definitely on the right track here. Like this is why this is my expertise. Like I know how to do this. I can help people in this way. So collecting that. So first, we know our end goal. Second, we are finding our ideal client pain point. So where are they really struggling in some of these areas so that we can see exactly what is the top struggle that's going on right now. And then from there, that allows us to create our opt-in based on that one topic. Okay, so this is why we broke it down, because the goal is to create a quick win for our audience. We want to give them one win, not 80,000 wins, although we can't help but want to do that. We can't, okay? Because again, we talked about this earlier, is the fact that we don't want to give people too much at once because we're all busy. We all have a lot of things coming at us. So even though it may seem like such a small step for you, think about anything else in your life. It's been accomplished by one small win at a time. So we get excited when we get one win. Like you can read something and go, oh, I feel good about that, right? Like, okay, I can do that. And they attach that win to you. So this is why we're only focused on one of those problems by seeing what are people needing the most right now? And based on their feedback, okay, how can I deliver that to them? Jamie, sometimes I offer something special after the fact to those that give feedback. Thank you, economy. Yes. And you know, that is something that I will do on surveys, especially when I go to my list. And I'm glad you brought that up, because some people are against that. They're like, well, won't you get skewed results if you're giving something for free? You know, away, like they're only going to do it to get something free. And I'm like, well, I don't know. When I see it like that, like I love to incentivize people because they're taking their time to give me feedback that's going to help my business. So if I am willing to give something away, some kind of thank you for their time, I can really lead from the place of, I do honor your time. I understand, even if it's 5 minutes, that's 5 minutes you did not have to give me. And the fact that you're willing to, I like to reward people for that. So I am totally pro that as well, Jamie. So for some people, they may not like that strategy, but it works for me. So I'm gonna keep doing, right, what feels good. And that's the power of running the business the way you want to do it. So you get to thank those, you build a connection with them, and then you get to create an opt-in that solves their needs. So everybody wins in this process. So the third step is, once you're seeing what the commonality is and you're seeing what the real struggle is for your people, then I want you to decide on the one problem you're going to solve and the style that's best to solve that. Okay, so you have this one problem. Now, what is the best way to solve that? Is it through a video? So if it's something that is tutorial based, then maybe you need a video for that so that you can show people click by click certain things. So for me, I have programs, and this is kind of like outside of an opt-in, but I have some programs that are audio only because they don't need to see things. Where, for example, like my list building course, that is like step-by-step, more of a click-through and examples, just because I know the person consuming it needs something different for that topic. So you're gonna have the same thing going on in your opt-in. If you were doing a meditation, then most likely it's gonna be an audio. It's gonna be something that people can grab on the go. If you have an audience that is super busy, then they're most likely not going to consume an ebook, but you could give them a checklist, a cheat sheet, a download, right? Like a really quick win that doesn't feel overwhelming for them. So we want to keep your audience in mind. And if you look above this video, I made a download for you guys, and it is 25 opt-in ideas to get your brain going as far as the best fit for your audience. So this allows you to see the different ways that you can take that one win that you're going to give your audience, that one topic that you're going to focus on, and choose out of 25 different ways the way that you want to present that to them. So you're keeping their lifestyle in mind. If there's someone who your ideal client really likes step-by-step information, well then, okay, we need to keep that in mind, that they probably need a worksheet or a workbook or something to go through. I know that my audience is very similar to me as far as visual learners, so that's why I make a bajillion checklists, right? So I even have a challenge going on right now, and I have all these on my desk because they're all for that challenge. Like, I make checklists because I know that's part of how my audience is wired. It's how I'm wired, so they can visually see things out. But your audience may not be like that. So maybe you can do a download that is a quick audio for them because they're always on the go. They can plug in their headphones. So really keep their lifestyle in mind for the type of opt-in that you are putting out there. Can they actually consume that in their everyday life? If so, great. Now you have the perfect thing for them to go ahead and download because you're solving their immediate need. You're solving one thing, and it's leading right to their end goal. So let me know in the chat if this is connecting with you. So is this something that you can take and start applying to your opt-ins within your business? Because this is something that has been such a game changer for me, if being able to really lead in the front with the right opt-in that is going to take them not only to my offer, but really give them a win regardless from the beginning, because I got to find out their needs. I broke it down into one thing. I gave them an opt-in style that actually fits for their lifestyle so that they can take that in, so that they can take that next step. And because of that, we're developing a strong relationship before we even move forward. Jamie, I use surveys, as you mentioned, to ask people like to communicate as well. I plan to do video, but my people wanted ebooks. See, that's very interesting, right? Like, oh, they're actually looking for an ebook. You would have never known that unless you had asked them. So now it's, okay, so an ebook, how can we do this in a way that works well, right? That's consumable. So maybe it doesn't need to be super long, but it could be 3 pages and it's still still an ebook, right? Like we can still do it in that way and wrap it around because that's what they're looking to consume about that topic. So maybe they do want kind of like more of a breakdown approach. They want a little bit more descriptions for how to do each individual thing. So awesome, I can create that, no problem. So this is such the power of making sure that you have an opt-in that is irresistible, because you're making sure that it is not only focused on one specific point, it's that irresistible, gotta have it, because they already told you, right? They told you exactly what they really want relating to your core offer. So they want that piece, they want to solve that problem. So we're going to create an opt-in that does exactly that. And if you grab the download up there, then we're going to talk about the different styles of opt-in, because otherwise that would be like a 2-hour live stream going through all 25 of them. But I want you to jog some ideas for yourself as far as the style of opt-in that's going to be the right fit for you and your audience. And also, of course, I'm going to forget to mention this. So up there, you're going to find a link to the Aligned CEO. It is a launch group, a giveaway group, total bribe kind of group, because I do have a new podcast launching. So if you are already a fan of the Daydream Achievers podcast, I have aligned with one of my my biz besties, and we are bringing together the Aligned CEO podcast, where it is bringing strategy. So I get to totally be in my glory, and mindset together in the same room. So she is a mindset coach, and we're going to have the strategy side, and together we are launching a podcast on the 21st. However, to have a celebration going in, we have created a free Facebook group just for the next week of while we're launching this podcast, where we are going to be doing giveaways and having fun with all of you guys, and really starting to bring a new conversation into the entrepreneurial world. So I wanted to let you know about that. Make sure you click on the link. It'll actually take you right to the Facebook group. You can request access, and then once you get in there, we're going to let you know about all the giveaways we're having as we launch this podcast. So if you are an audio person like I am and love to listen to podcasts, would love to have you there. So I wanted to kind of like attach this onto this live stream to let you know what is going on and what's being built in the background. Great teaching. Thanks. All perfect reminders. Awesome, Jamie. I'm so glad to hear that. And like I said, if you guys want to grab that download, 25 ways or 25 opt-in ideas, that is free. Go ahead, just put your name and email, obviously, and it will go right over to your inbox. So you can go ahead and start applying this and getting your opt-ins up and running. And then next week, what we're going to do is we're going to start diving in to some more in-depth topics when it talks about list building, and we're going to talk about how to quickly build your list without Facebook ads. So if we are creating these opt-ins, how do we get those opt-ins out there? How do we actually get people signing up for them without having to spend a ton of money on ads, or without even having to figure it out? So when it comes to ads, I truly believe they're powerful in your business. I use them myself. However, I believe that you have to be profitable organically first in order to be able to jump over to that side. So I want to show you how you can do that, and then it's up to you. If you want to run paid advertising as well, by all means, that's extra icing on the cake, but I think you should know how to do it organically too for your business. So we'll dive into that next week if you meet us right back here. So hope you guys have a great week. Anyone on the replay, let us know in the comments any takeaways that you got from this episode. And of course, grab your 25 opt-in ideas and come join us on the official street team for the Aligned CEO podcast that is rolling out next week, so that you can get your hands on all the giveaways and the goodies and pretty much party with us for the next week as we launch this new podcast to help serve you in your entrepreneurial journey, giving you both the strategy and the mindset piece of business in one place. So enjoy your week, you guys. I'll be back soon.